Mr. Paris Fatnani has been working with QS for over 5 years, helping candidates across India, Middle East, and now the UK to connect directly with their dream university or business school around the world. He is currently a regional director at QS, and apart from being a part of the senior marketing leadership team, he works closely with Indian universities and business schools, consulting them on internationalization and global brand building strategies, leading towards his vision of creating a brand for education, a brand India for education. He has also led and been involved in various entrepreneurial ventures, including a digital marketing agency, an event management firm, and the latest where he has launched a brand called Honey Quicks, a food packaging innovation where they serve pure, 100% antibiotic-free honey in different flavors in single serves. He's also the ambassador for India at One Young World, a forum often referred to as Junior Davos, and a global ambassador for Project Chirag, an initiative to provide solar lighting to rural households in India that have no access to electricity. Academically, he is a chartered marketeer and has completed his MA in marketing communications on a full scholarship before he joined QS. A warm welcome to you, sir.
Thanks, Deepika. Great to be here.
Our audiences look forward to your talks and sharing your experiences. MBA Alternatives and the emerging markets. Moving on to the first question, is the MBA fad still on worldwide? And do you see any competitive alternative to the 2-year full-time MBA program?
So how I would start this is actually, I think it's more important to understand the different options available for people. So I'm going to quickly run down different alternatives that are there firstly to consider for candidates in different space of their journeys. So for a candidate who's looking, who's graduated, who has less than 2-3 years of experience and wants to get an MBA under his belt, I would recommend to look at a 2-year program. So that's where you're going to strengthen your fundamentals. You're going to go through a larger, a larger course type where you're getting your basics right, and you have more time to find your path. Second would be the 1-year MBA, which is slightly, if you call it, it's more aggressive. It's for candidates who I would say are in their mid-career options with 3+ years of experience and are now looking at that aggressive growth to the next stage in their career. So largely, a lot of people who look at a 1-year program are candidates who are looking at further career progression in the same industry, whereas candidates who consider a 2-year program are looking at either a shift in industry or a diversification in skill sets that they're trying to gain. However, said that, these two very obviously overlap. It depends on what stage the candidate is in their journey. There are obviously a lot of other options. So some of them include a part-time MBA. Now, when candidates do not want to leave their jobs and want to be more stable but want to still progress academically, a part-time MBA is a good option. Generally, these part-time MBAs are over 2 years. Depending on continent and country, they would differ. There's an executive MBA, and the executive MBA is also, in theory, a part-time MBA, but for more professionally, for candidates who have more experience. So generally, an executive MBA course would be for candidates over 8 to 10 years of experience internationally. While in India, they go down to about 5 years as well. But in general, it's for 8+ years of experience that candidates can apply for an executive program. There's also a growing trend of online MBAs. Okay. There are a number of options available for candidates to now pursue an MBA sitting where they are in a country and study a course which is delivered from another. But again, the objectives are very different. Now, what I would clearly outline is competitive advantages in a full-time or an executive in-person MBA would be that there's a lot more networking opportunities, whereas in an online MBA, the class interaction would be slightly more limited. Moving on, I think there's one other option that candidates are now aggressively looking at, which we see highly because the number of master's candidates that are attending our events has been rapidly increasing over the last 3 years. So the master's in management course is a very healthy option for less experienced candidates that they're now considering as well. So I would say, at large, an online MBA, a part-time MBA, an executive MBA, a 1 year full-time, a 2 year full-time would be your prime options. But obviously, the kind of MBAs are expanding very fast, and there will be other options available as well, including a master's in management that one can consider now.
All right. So basically, different type of MBA will have its own set of objectives. So it is important for the candidate to understand the objectives that a particular type of MBA is going to deliver.
Yes.
So there's what I can gauge, or we can gauge in an Indian scenario, is that there is still a gap in understanding the objectives the student has and the objectives the MBA or the type of program that it is going to fulfill. And because of that, when the gap does not meet, or the needs do not get met, so this candidate often feels disappointed, or they feel that they should be working hard, or was the MBA the right thing to do or not. But a proper analysis before they step in to an MBA should help them. And a lot of information here. All right, next question would be, sir, as the saying goes, look out for blue ocean and create new markets. What are the emerging B-school hubs worldwide that students should look out for?
So apart from the traditional dominating countries where we see a lot of candidates go, which is the US, Europe at large, UK in particular from Europe, there are lots of markets that are coming out to be winners because of certain regulations that are probably affecting the mature markets, if we were to call it that. So some of them that are progressing very fast, I would say, would be Canada. There's a large number of very good business schools that are recruiting large number of candidates from India. The quality of education remains at the heart of this. So schools like Toronto Rotman, Richard Ivey, Yale are institutions that I would say, and amongst others, I would say that are good to look out for in Canada. Asia is becoming a huge hub when it comes to prospective candidates looking for emerging markets. So Hong Kong has been around for a while. Singapore has been, I would say, is a slightly more mature market, but still expanding. So Singapore would be another option I would recommend. I wouldn't shy away from recommending China, India, when we talk about emerging markets as well, from an international perspective. Some of the schools include, the University of Hong Kong, HKUST, the IIMs, ISB, but also, I mean, you've got to look at, at the Southern Hemisphere too. So Australia is another place I would say is worth looking at. So schools like La Trobe, UNSW, Sydney Business School would also form a good option the candidates can consider.
All right. You just mentioned India as an emerging market. Do we see more international students coming to India? And what is your yes?
Sorry, yes.
And what would be your take on the top Indian business schools, credentials, and education experience as a whole for international students?
I think there's a large large number of international students now considering India. And at the heart of this is the fact of the image of India is slowly changing to be a country that people are doing more business with. So I think the current efforts of the government also support that. There is, when we talk about leading schools, a few that I would name would be, some of the IIMs. So IIM Ahmedabad, IIM Bangalore, ISB, SB Jain. There's a number of private institutions doing a lot of good work in the space as well. Some of them would be Amity, Soil School of Inspired Leadership, Universal Business School, Myra Business School. So there's a lot of options out there to explore, and these schools, I think, have somehow understood one aspect that needs to be catered to, which is the learning styles. So the learning styles are now becoming more international of the course delivery in India, which is opening up a lot more students to consider India as a destination, apart from it being a larger business hub. I would say there's a lot of students from the SAARC already in India, a lot of students from Africa considering India, but a lot of students from the developed markets, so the US and Europe, are now starting to consider India as a potential option. So I think the growth story is going to be humongous, and there's a lot of potential out there.
All right. Candidates from developed countries looking out towards India, that is a very aspirational thing to think about India and the direction in which the Indian education is, Indian universities and the top-notch premier institute towards. Let's hope for the best for India as well. Thank you for the talk.